Jean-Paul Sartre's What is Literature is one of the most important works of modern literary theory and existentialist thought. Written in 1947, the book explores what literature is, what it means to write, and what responsibilities writers have to their readers and to society. Sartre was not only a philosopher but also a novelist and playwright, and in this book he connects his ideas about freedom, responsibility, and human action to the practice of writing. The main question Sartre asks is simple: what is literature for? He believes that literature is not just about beauty or imagination, but about freedom and communication. Writing for him is an act that aims to reveal the world to others and to inspire them to act within it. Through words, writers show readers what the world is like and what it could be. Literature is a form of engagement, an ethical and political activity, not a neutral one. In the first part of the book, he explains that writing is a kind of communication between people. He says that when a person writes, they are addressing someone else, a reader. Literature is a call to the reader's freedom, asking them to see and judge the world. This makes writing an act of responsibility. Unlike painting or music, which use colors and sounds to express feelings, literature uses language, words that have meaning and can be understood. The writer's job is to use words to make readers aware of truth. Words are not just decorations, they are tools that describe, reveal, and persuade. Because readers can interpret and respond, writing becomes a shared experience between author and reader. The reader's freedom to understand, agree, or disagree completes the writer's work. He also distinguishes between prose and poetry. He believes prose is the language of communication. It is meant to express ideas, emotions, and truths clearly. Poetry focuses more on the sound and rhythm of language. Poets use words as things, while prose writers use them as signs that point to meaning. Since his main interest is literature as a form of action and engagement, he focuses more on prose writers like novelists and essayists than on poets. An important idea in the book is commitment or engagement. Every writer must decide whether to be engaged or disengaged. A disengaged writer treats literature as art for art's sake, beautiful but separate from life. An engaged writer, however, uses literature to question society, politics, and morality. Sartre lived through World War II and the Nazi occupation of France. During that time, many writers faced the question of whether to resist, to stay silent, or to collaborate. This experience shaped his belief that writing is a moral act. He insists that a writer cannot be neutral in times of injustice. To write is to take a stand because words have power. Silence is also a choice and often a form of complicity. Freedom is the foundation of literature. Writing is an expression of the writer's freedom and it calls on the reader's freedom in return. Through reading, people become aware of their own ability to choose, act, and change the world. Literature, therefore, is a space where freedom is exercised and shared. In the next section, Sartre discusses the writer's role in society. Writers belong to a particular historical moment and cannot separate themselves from it. The problems of their time, war, oppression, inequality, are also their problems. Writers must therefore write for their time, but also beyond their time, offering insight and imagination that help society move forward. He contrasts different types of writers. Some write only for entertainment or fame, avoiding moral questions. Others use their writing to expose social and political truths. He praises writers who face reality honestly and challenge oppression, those who write with a sense of responsibility toward humanity. He also connects literature with class and politics. In earlier centuries, literature was often written by and for the upper class, but modern literature, especially after the French Revolution, becomes more democratic. It addresses everyone. Sartre calls this the democratization of literature and argues that modern writers must write in a way that speaks to ordinary people, not just the elite. Sartre emphasizes that readers are not passive consumers, they are co creators of meaning. When a writer writes, they open up a world of possibilities that is the reader who completes the act by reading and interpreting. Reading is a creative act because it requires imagination, judgment, and emotional response. For Sartre, this interaction between writer and reader is what makes literature a living form of art. Both sides share responsibility. The writer must be honest and clear, while the reader must be active and reflective. Literature is a dialogue between two freedoms. Literature can change how people see reality. When readers encounter new perspectives, they may begin to question their own beliefs and assumptions. In this way, literature can inspire personal and social transformation. Sartre strongly criticizes the idea that literature should be art for art's sake. Art is not separate from life or politics. Writers who claim to be neutral are avoiding responsibility. True literature cannot ignore injustice or suffering. A writer who writes only for beauty or fame fails to fulfill the moral purpose of art. He does not mean that literature should become propaganda. He believes that engaged literature should reveal truth and provoke thought. The best writing inspires readers to think critically and act freely, not to follow orders. Sartre situates literature within the larger context of history. Writers are shaped by their time but also shape it in return. He discusses how writers like Voltaire, Zola, and Stendhal used literature to criticize society and influence change. He calls this a dialectical relationship between literature and history. Each affects the other. Literature evolves as society changes. In the 19th century, realism and naturalism reflected industrialization and social inequality. In the 20th century, existentialism and modernism reflected alienation, war, and the search for meaning. Each generation of writers must redefine literature in response to its historical challenges. In the conclusion, Sartre returns to his main theme, freedom. Literature should make readers aware of their freedom and responsibility. Through literature, people can imagine alternatives, resist oppression, and affirm their humanity. Even in dark times, writing and reading are acts of hope. This is the ultimate purpose of literature, to help humans recognize themselves as free beings capable of choice and action. Literature should awaken consciousness, reveal injustice, and call for change. He ends by insisting that writers must take their craft seriously, not as entertainment but as an ethical and political task. Every word has consequences and every silence has meaning. The writer carries both freedom and responsibility in shaping the moral imagination of the readers and their time.